Hey friends, this is the Mrs. Wolfie from Our Half Acre Homestead, and today I'm starting to peel tomatoes because it's time to can garden medley vegetables. Pour this hot water over these tomatoes, and then I'm going to top the water up and put it back on the burner. It's got to be scalding hot water. All right, now see, it just slips right off. Now some of these tomatoes didn't want to peel. Can't find my legs for this. I put them through the blender, and I'm just going to put them through this hand food mill. And you just run this around like this, and it presses it out through the sides. See, it takes any bits of skin and seeds and all that stuff out. I'm starting on the zucchini now because I like my garden medley vegetable is one way to use up a lot of zucchini. Now, I didn't get the pictures, but I had 6 to 8 newborn infant size zucchinis. And although I graded the first batch, I peeled and diced the second batch so that I had 2 different textures going into the garden medley vegetables. I'm starting on the zucchini now because I like my garden medley vegetable is one way to use up a lot of zucchini. And I'm going to grate it just because it makes it thicker. When it goes into the tomatoes and starts to cook down, it will thicken it. You know what's weird is I'm harvesting and I'm already thinking of next year's garden. Isn't that wild? Our trees are all starting to drop their leaves, and falling leaves go by my window. Autumn leaves of red and gold. Won't be many left here before long. We're just waiting for the equinoctial storm, you know what I mean? The one that comes once all the leaves are at their absolute beautiful, then it rains for 3 days and takes them all off. Okay, since the zucchini is going into the tomatoes, I'm not going to salt my tomatoes. I'm just going to salt the zucchini to drain water off them. And that way they won't have to cook down as much. I'm just going to put like no more than 3 tablespoons of salt for the whole 9 yards here. And then I'll set that over there. And then we'll keep grating zucchini. Now, I've only put 2 or 3, at the very most, 3 tablespoons of salt here. And it is draining water out, and I keep pouring it off. See how it's dripping? And I'm going to leave the salt in the zucchini so that I just won't salt my tomatoes. So these will go in slightly salted, and then goes in the onion and the celery from the freezer. I may even put in some diced zucchini. Okay, folks, these have just been keeping warm all night, and they've got to cook down quite a bit more. I was going to puree these, but I've changed my mind. Instead of adding raw onion, which I don't have a lot of right now because I haven't found it on sale, I'm going to put this jar, or most of this jar of leeks, well, good portion of it, into each pot. These will rehydrate give lots of flavor, and they will hydrate in the water that is being presently cooking off of these tomatoes. Yeah. There we go. I'm grateful. Very grateful. I have a dish pan of diced zucchini, 3/4 full, which is, when this cooks down, is going to go in. I'm really grateful I have had an awesome zucchini harvest and an awesome leek harvest. See, I have another jar of the leeks, just crackerjack full. So I'm going to let this cook down. But now I'm going to put in, I don't want to use my hands because I got nicks and burns on them, and this zucchini salted. Now I grated this zucchini yesterday and then salted it and drained the water off, and I have diced zucchini to add. But I'm just going to add this. And when this cooks down some, I will add a 1/2 dish pan of diced zucchini. And I'm going to go get my celery out of the freezer, so I'll be right back. This zucchini will also cook down once a lot of the water has been removed. This zucchini will also cook down. And it will help and thicken this. It will help thicken this. I'll be right back. I'm going to go get my celery in one piece because I didn't flash freeze it, because I knew pretty much what I was going to use it for. These 2 bags anyway. Boom. Now we're going to let some more water cook down off of these. And then I will add the regular, well, see, this celery's got to thaw. And then I'm going to add my dish pan of zucchini, and we're going to bottle it up. And pressure can it. Why? Because there's low acid vegetables in this. So it has to be pressure canned. Okay, here is approximately 5 gallons of my garden medley vegetables. You can see that I put the diced zucchini in. Now I'm going to tell you pretty much exactly what's in all of this. I got about 1.25 bushels of tomatoes, about 8 infant-sized zucchinis. Some of the zucchini was shredded, some of it was cubed. I put a whole jar of dehydrated leeks and approximately 8 cups of celery. So let's get canning. It is ready. Okay, I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. It bears repeating. I like to give my canners a good going over in between cannings, especially when I'm about to embark on a large canning session. So what I do is I make sure that I've taken out my gaskets and I've scrubbed them, and I've scrubbed the inside of the lids and well rinsed them and replaced them. I've made sure that my steam vent is tight and clean. And I noticed steam coming out from around the handle the last canning load I did, and I noticed just when I broke down my lid and scrubbed it, I had some buildup in here, which was stopping this from sealing properly. So these things are important. I also, because I'm on well water, soak my weights in vinegar and run a brush into them to keep them working properly. Let's get canning. Here is 14 washed and rinsed jars. This was the zucchini, and this was salted, and I left it salted. So we're not going to season this in any way. So I'm just going to get set up, and I'll be right back. It's close quarters, so I'm showing you this stuff because you'll probably not see it on camera. Okay, I hope you can see everything here. Here I have my washed and rinsed lids, my first pot of garden medley vegetables, my rings, my always damp paper towel. Now this is pretty liquid, so it's not going to be needed to be debubbled. We're going to fill that up to 1 inch from the top. Drop this into another jar. Always, always wipe your rims and threads with a clean damp paper towel. A fresh, clean 4 jars always pops lids. You can check the description box below this video for a link to 4 jars and with the coupon code HALFACRE, all one word in capital letters, for 10% off. Let's get this into the canner. God bless the lady who taught me to use a measuring cup on my jars, on filling my jars. It's handy and it's exact, if you do it right. Fingertip tight. Do not over tighten your lids. If you over tighten your rings, air will not be able to escape and you will not get a vacuum. As a matter of fact, your lids may buckle. So please, no wrenching, fingertip tight. That means as tight as you can get with your fingertips. I am really hoping to get in excess of 20 jars. I'm going to dip this in the canner water because it has vinegar in it. I'm starting with my small canner first because it's a smaller canner, but it's also on a smaller burner, which means it takes longer to get up to temperature. So I like to get it started before my big one. And that way I can get them relatively cooking at the same time. This stuff is chock-a-block full of vitamins for winter health, I tell you. Lots of richness. Okay, in these canners I have the recommended amount of water in the bottom with the rack, and I also add a splash of vinegar because I am on well water, so it keeps my jars from clouding up. I also, in each canner, have 7 1-liter or quart jars of my garden medley vegetables. Yum. If you can see, this one's starting to spout a little bit of steam. We want a steady stream of steam to come up from these vents. And once these are doing a steady stream of steam, we will set our timer for 10 minutes. A steady stream is when it is pushing air out at a forceful rate without any sputtering. Okay, so both canners are putting out a steady stream of steam, and I'm going to very carefully set my timer for 10 minutes. Even though these canners probably will have their weights put on at the same time, they may not have the same come up to temperature and pressure at the same time. So if you're using 2 different size canners on 2 different size burners, always have 2 timers. Before I put them on, I like to soak these in vinegar and just give them a scrub with a brush so that any rust or calcium buildup is cleaned out of the holes and out of your little pressure thing. 10 minutes, bubbles are up, and as soon as we get our first vigorous jiggle, I'm going to set my timer. 30 minutes for pints, 35 minutes for quarts. Okay, this is considered a vigorous jiggle. And I'm going to turn this down. See how it's cupping? That's what we want it to do. So I'm going to turn this down right in between medium and maximum because that's going to give me the correct temperature for this canner. I am going to set this timer because it's quarts. Okay, I just got my second vigorous jiggle, and I'm not even going to turn this down all that much, just a tiny bit, because it is a smaller burner. And I'm going to set my timer now, and we will be back when these are finished processing. Okay, our timers have gone off. I have shut off my canners. We are going to let these cool naturally. You want to let these cool until you can put your hands comfortably on the sides of the canner before attempting to open. Please do not jiggle the weight. Do not take the weight off to rapidly depressurize your canner. Do not soak them in cover them in wet towels, anything like that. Let them cool naturally. Allowing them to cool is part of the canning process. If you depressurize these too fast, fast, or you try and take the lid off, you run the risk of getting burned, or you run the risk of your canner depressurizing too quick and then liquid gets pushed out of your jars that are inside the canner. They will siphon off because they weren't allowed to slowly decompress inside the canner. All right, so we'll be back when these are done. All righty. The canners are still hot, but the bobbles are down and there is no steam escaping from here. So I feel comfortable taking these off and putting them back in their little jar of vinegar and opening these canners. Now listen, but it is still hot, so please always be careful to open the lid away from you, just in case there is steam in there. Oh my goodness. I am going to take these out of the canner, then I'm going to re-prep my canners for another batch. And there it is. 28 quarts of summer in a jar, loaded with vitamins for winter consumption. Yeah, don't look at my hair. This is the Mrs. Wolfie from Our Half Acre Homestead saying that took 3 days, but it was worth every minute. Summer in a jar. Mwah! Take care. God bless.